It is now official. The Washington Commanders are trading away their starting running back, Brian Robertson Jr., to the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to be breaking it down on what the trade looks like and what can we expect from the Commanders heading to the regular season just 2 weeks away. I'm your host, Aziel Mejia, with Commanders Digest, reporting everything all Washington Commanders offseason, regular season, anything in between. So if you want to be caught up to date, everything Commanders, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Yes, we have been preparing for this. We've done a couple of videos because it did break out not too long ago as well that Brian Robertson Jr. was on the trading block, and it's just crazy to see how things move so quick within this league. We're going to break it down. I got the stats. I got the quotes. I've done the research for you, believe it or not, so you don't have to. Like I said, we're going to be breaking it down. But before we do that, if you're a new watcher, new viewer to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button because, like I said, we're 2 weeks away from the games officially mattering from the games having purpose. There we go. When we're officially official with the true games that are going to matter towards the regular season. So if you're new here, subscribe. Now, if you're a returning viewer, make sure you are subscribed because 87.5 of y'all who are watching the videos are not subscribed. But let's get right into it. You don't want to hear me talk about subscribing. Brian Robertson Jr., it's just crazy to see, like I said, the shift in momentum. Would it be momentum? Or I don't know how you would categorize it. But you know what I mean. How quick it was from the news breaking, he was getting traded away to when he actually got traded. Just to give you a timeline, we do have the last couple of videos we're discussing the potential of him getting traded. If you haven't seen those videos, go watch them after this one. But essentially what the timeline looked like I said, wasn't too far ago because it started essentially in game one, preseason game one for the Commanders when they went against the New England Patriots. Brian Robertson Jr. traveled with the team to New England. Everything was looking good. Then right before the game two, the Bengals, a day or two before that, it was the news broke. Brian Robertson Jr. on the trading block. He ends up not attending the game at all. The Commanders versus the Bengals. It was at home for the Commanders, so it was in Northwest Stadium, and he no-showed it at all. That sort of put the writing on the wall that things weren't looking the best for the Brian Robertson Jr. and the Commanders front office, that there might be some friction, and that seemed to be the case of him being traded away. And we have discussed this before on certain because he was projected to make $3.4 million. This is the last year of his deal for Brian Robertson Jr., 2025, 2026. And it could be a case where they just didn't, based off speculation. Speculation is no official word on it, obviously, but based off speculation, there are Washington personnel who believe he didn't perform to the standards last year to get that $3.4 million this year. And it was an insane jump based off the previous season. Let me do the numbers right. 2023, 24. Well, let me think. No. His jump of how much he getting paid. Let's go. His jump to how much he was getting paid from 24, 25 increased a lot heading into 25, 26. Because I want to say last season he was going to get paid 1.8 projected. And then, like I said, that big old jump to 3.4. We talk about millions within the league, like pennies, essentially. But that's still a lot of money when you consider it. So, obviously, we've discussed it before. Is at the end of the day, NFL owners is millionaires penny pinching at this point. And we're going to be breaking it down on also a reason why he got traded. But we're going to talk about these quotes that we have right here. First one being obviously from Adam Schefter X, saying this: Commanders are trading Brian Robertson to the 49ers in exchange for a 2026 6th-round pick, sources tell ESPN. I was surprised. I was trying to look for more information. Just a sixth round for our starting running back is crazy to see because the previous video we did, well, not previous, but one of the most recent videos we discussed was with the Saints also being on the board for Brian Robertson Jr. and us at least getting a pass rusher in return. But seeing that the Commanders only got a 6th-round pick means that the Commanders didn't have as much leverage as I thought, because like I said, it was more so they wanted to get off his contract. They didn't want to pay the $3.4 million he's going to be owed in this upcoming season. So I guess it was the best option. It was more so Commanders wanted to move away from Brian Robertson Jr. at the running back position, not wanting to pay that instead of trying to get as much back in return. And we also have another tweet from Adam Schefter saying, running back Brian Robertson is flying to San Francisco to take his physical with the 49ers. And if and when he passes the physical, the trade will become official. And the 49ers will have a new backup running back. Which we sort of had the idea for Brian Robertson Jr. is him splitting the loads. First with the Saints, Alvin Kamara, but now just splitting the workload with the 49ers, run CMC, Christian McCaffrey. So it's going to be interesting how that duo looks. Just splitting because Christian McCaffrey, obviously a great player, but he is sort of on the injury side, which you hate to see, and him being just such a great player, almost be an MVP that one season. If you know, but just him having injuries consistently, you're gonna need someone to split the load. And like Brian Robertson Jr., 26, he's still on the younger side. But this final quote we have is from Ian Rapoport, also explaining it on X, and sort of what this means for the Commanders heading into the regular season. The Commanders are finalizing a trade to send Brian Robertson Jr., that started the last 3 seasons, to the 49ers, per the insiders. It's a 6th rounder going back. At last, Washington moves on with Austin Eckler, Jacoby Krosky-Merritt, and a young group. San Fran gets a running back. Why I wanted to include this quote was that last portion at the end of what the Commanders will look like heading into the regular season, going on with Austin Eckler and Jacoby Krosky-Merritt. Now, it's crazy to see how everything's flourishing for Jacoby Krosky-Merritt, because, like I said, we've discussed it in the past. If you haven't seen those videos, go watch them after this one. We discussed Jacoby's lore from once after he got drafted to the Commanders, what he went through. He has a ton of college experience. Unfortunately, he didn't play his last season in college due to certain circumstances outside from the field. If you know, you know. But to him, we've heard a lot of great things coming off from the practice sessions, and then him performing well in the preseason games. And like, I had high hopes for Jacoby. I had high hopes because from what people that were at the training sessions that you saw him in preseason, he does play. But they have just abundance of trust in him, because to trade away your starter and then putting that pressure on Jacoby, I wouldn't want to say pressure because he's still playing behind Austin Eckler, but you know what I mean. Him just playing at a pace where the Commanders are like, okay, we can move on. Where it's safe. Essentially, the Commanders' ideology is, okay, this dude is good enough, and we can take a safe bet on him being that guy if we trade away Brian Robertson Jr., which is crazy to see, because me thinking back to when I made those videos about Jacoby, I talked about how he was going to come fresh from the draft because he didn't play the last season, so he's not going to come in hurt, he's not going to come in injured, and he's going to come in hungry because he's going to want to prove his worth, because his stock did drop insane from not playing that last season in college. And to see how he's developed, how he's growing, and proving me right that he wanted to prove everybody wrong, and then he had that dog and he's ready to work. It's just crazy to see. And like I said already, with the 49ers, they also get a running back to help split the loads with Christian McCaffrey. I also wanted to talk about a detail that wasn't pointed out yet. Yes, Brian Robertson Jr. projected to make $3.4 million heading into this regular season, but I haven't mentioned his name because I feel like we mentioned his name a ton, but it is big news throughout the offseason. A certain wide receiver that hasn't gotten his money yet. So Brian Robertson Jr. getting traded away may be an unfortunate outcome from that situation. Because like I said, the NFL are just owners who are just penny pinching at the end of the day, because this may be a circumstance where you have to move away from his contract in order to pay a certain wide receiver what he wants to resign. So I'm gonna just leave it like that. So this is my personal thoughts is this may be a situation where they move off his contract to save more money to pay a certain wide receiver what he wants. So maybe I'm right, but I told you guys in the previous videos, if this broke, we were going to cover it on the channel. So if anything breaks within the Commanders atmosphere, you know we covered right here. I'm Aziel Mejia with Commander Digest, and I'll see you in the next video.